gain this kind of skills. So you think that traveling to the United States for the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program will give you an opportunity, since this is the first class standard of learning, to learn more about digitalization of lessons, so that when you come back to your community, you may be able to share freely with your other colleagues and now pull those who are lacking behind. So you see how you have to link it up. So it means that if you are talking about your school community as challenges up there, you have to mention the fact that digitalization of lessons is a new phenomenon that is being gradually introduced in your school, and many teachers are facing difficulties to adapt to this system. So that when you come down now, why you want to participate in the T program, that now comes down like one of your objectives, that you want to gain skills, you want to update, or you want to upgrade knowledge about this. Again, I am just taking a few of the objectives, because the objectives will vary from individual. Everybody is not going to have the same objective. Just like yesterday, I want to take from what Cynthia made a very, very brilliant presentation yesterday about gender. So you may be that teacher who is interested in promoting gender inclusive learning, teaching and learning in your classrooms. So you have to mention as a problem or as a challenge above, that in your school, the problem of gender is not fully addressed. How is it not fully addressed? You can say maybe there is more favoritism for boys going to school, and many people think that girls, the place of the girls should be in the kitchen or go for marriages and all of that. So you are thinking that participating in the T program will equip you with skills, so that you can bring about a balance in gender inclusive learning within your classroom, within your schools, and within your within other communities. So again here, you could take about you can take other aspects. For example, in recent years in our educational system, we have been talking about competency-based approach. And I want to believe that you can even quote that by now you have realized that within your classroom or within your school, about maybe 30%, about 40%, or about a certain percent of the teachers do not fully understand the concept of or how to apply competency-based approach in their classrooms. And you think that since the United States educational system is one of the world class that have put into practice these systems, so participating in the Fulbright program will give you that opportunity to work with your partner teachers to learn about the CBA and other classroom management strategies. Again, you will notice here that the Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program is mentioned as one of the main objectives of the program, that this program brings outstanding international secondary school teachers from all parts of the world. So that can be a very point of that could be a very, very important objective, that you wish to interact with other world-class leaders and then share with their experiences and situations of how teaching and learning is being done in their countries. That is best practices. When you gain those best practices from world-class leaders, when you come back to your community, you'll be able to share this knowledge. So I think it will be difficult for me to exhaust all the objectives, because there are thousands of them, depending on what we are passionate about. If you are passionate about community development, if you are passionate about NGO, if you are passionate about school club activities, if you are passionate about sports, you are passionate about all the different aspects that you are passionate, but you should just indicate first, that these things have a limitation in your current situation. And that is the reason why you think that participating in the Fulbright program will now update and upgrade your skills to better your knowledge and expertise on this, so that when you return back to your community or back to your schools and your classrooms, you will be able to share this knowledge with your students, with your colleagues and other communities. So Loveline, Cynthia, and the others that are moderating, I think that at this level, given the time allocated to me, I think I can limit my discussions here, and maybe we'll come back when we have questions, because there are lots and lots of objectives why each and everyone is thinking of participating in the Fulbright program. The only thing we want to discourage is those who think that the Fulbright program is a passport for them to get to the United States and maybe escape and not come back. So those kind of objectives are not welcome, because according to the program, when you attend the Fulbright program, it is imperative. It is a kind of a kind of expectation that you return to your country for a period of 2 years, so that the knowledge that you have gained there, you also share with your communities. And after a period of 2 years, you can think otherwise. And basically, that is what members of the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association are doing. That is why we organize this kind of mentorship programs and many other things that we do. We identify challenges in our community, and we try to bring our own solution to them. So thank you so much. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sam Canisius Asimbong. I teach mathematics in the Government Bilingual High School, Nyala. I participated in the Fulbright program in 2017 at the University of Massachusetts. I am the current president of the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association. Thank you so much, and hang on. Bye for now.
Thank you, Sam, for that wonderful presentation. So you gave the objective why you want the participants want to attend the program. That was a very wonderful presentation. As you said, the list is very, very inexhaustive, and participants also have to think out of the box based on what they do in their community, their difficulties, the challenges in their community, and also you look at this challenge, you target these challenges based on the objective of the program. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Loveline, who is going to present the next presenter.
Should I stop sharing?
No, Delphine, please don't stop sharing. Thank you, Sam, for that. Our next presenter will be Richard Sinjifon, who will be handling the second part. Describe an occasion where you were a leader or set a positive example in your school or community. Over to you, Richard.
Hello, Richard, are you on?
Hello, can you get me, please?
Yes, we can.
All right. I'm sorry for the delay. I was trying to unmute myself. I'm using my phone because I'm having issues with network. So with my Wi-Fi, so I cannot use my laptop right now. And for that reason, I will not be able to share any slides so far. The network, if you realize, I have two accounts, the one on my phone and the one on my laptop. The one on my laptop keep going on and off. So I will concentrate with my phone because I've moved out of the house to a position where I have network. All right, so I'll be talking about leadership. The question said, describe a time or an occasion when you were a leader or set a positive example in your school or community. So I'll try to make my presentation a little bit interactive, if that is going to be possible. I want to find out from the participant what is their understanding of teacher leadership. The questions say you should show a time when, an occasion when you have been a leader in your school. So what's your understanding of leadership?
If anybody wants to participate, please just indicate and we're going to call on you. Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have so much time, so it will be great if you just do that as fast as possible. One or two
Hello.
answers. Yeah.
This is Miss Pratt talking. My understanding of leadership is you take a lead role in an activity or organization, or in your class you take a lead role, or you can still lead from behind. You must not necessarily be a member of what, or let me take an example. You cannot necessarily be a member or an executive member of an association, but you can still lead from behind, giving ideas, carrying out activities that concern the organization. Then as a leader, you take the lead, you lead others, you come up with ideas, you carry out tasks, you perform duties that will go that will tie with what leadership wants you to do. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. One other intervention and then we move on. Any other person want to try? All right, without taking so much time, I'll just come in. Yeah, like the last speaker just mentioned, leadership does not necessarily mean that you should hold a position. When they talk of the teacher leadership, somebody's trying to talk. All right. We are listening. She seems to have a problem with connection. Since we don't have much time, I'll just move ahead. What I was saying is that I was queuing in with what the last speaker just said, that leadership does not necessarily mean, when we talk of teacher leadership, a lot of people think that you're expected to be a head of department, to be a surveillant general, or to be a vice principal or principal of the school, to hold the position of leadership. Teacher leadership does not mean that you have any official role, but that does not mean that if you have that role too, you cannot demonstrate teacher leadership with that. You can still demonstrate teacher leadership while holding that position. But what we are saying is that you should not feel like if you don't hold any of this role, then you cannot demonstrate teacher leadership. So teacher leadership essentially is an expression that refers to how teachers have influence in their or have an influence in their classroom or beyond their classroom. It could be in their school community. It could be outside of the school community. They take on administrative roles sometimes. Like, for example, you could be a head of department, but like I said, it does not necessarily mean that you can hold that position. So they support their peers and work with professional staff or students and other family members who are stakeholders in the educational field. So as a matter of fact, teacher leadership is a way of practicing education that emphasizes the growth of the school, the students or other colleagues. So if you carry on any activity that help the growth of your school or help the growth of your students or your colleagues that is outside of your assigned role as a teacher, then you're a teacher leader. It goes beyond you just coming to class, teach your subject, get back home, because there are a lot of teachers who do that. We just come to school, they move to their classroom, present their lesson, and then off they go. And that is all. So what we are saying is that what constitutes teacher leadership includes you going over and above this regular responsibility as a classroom teacher and carry on active activities to give an occasion. When you have in your community or in your classroom, what they expect you to say is that you pick an example of what you have been able to do. And usually, based on my experience, for you to present a coherent answer to that question that will speak to your leadership quality, what I usually do is that I use the STAR approach.
Hello, Richard.
So,
All right. It's like your network is breaking.
yes, can you get me now?
Yeah, 5 on 5. Go right on.
All right. Okay, so what I was saying is that I was drawing from my own experience to say that if you want to present this particular, respond to this particular question in a coherent manner, in a manner that somebody that will actually speak to your leadership quality, I always recommend the STAR approach. The STAR approach, STAR. So what is the STAR approach? S stands for the situation. In what situation did you demonstrate leadership? For example, I could say that there was a time in my school where my colleagues were having problems with the vast or the broad curriculum or the syllabus for history, and they were finding it difficult to go through that curriculum in time and make sure that students are ready maybe for the GCE. Then you take now the T part of it. What was the task? What responsibilities did you have to that situation? Now I could say that as a head of department, I was charged with the responsibility of helping these teachers to be able to find new ways of covering their syllabus so that they could be able to meet up with the students so that they can be prepared to sit in for their GCE. And then R or A is what action did you take? What action did you take? All right, so you could say that you called an emergency staff meeting in which you were able to redistribute maybe the syllabus and look at teachers who had very few work to do, and you shared this work with them and ensure that they could take part of the work from those who were overburdened with so much work, who still had so much work to cover. You shared this work with some of them so that they could be able to finish or work with the other teachers to be able to finish with that to cover the syllabus. And then arrow is the result. What results did you obtain when you took that action? You could now say, for example, that Thanks to your intervention, the teachers were able to finish the work in record time. And you guys even had your colleagues, you and your colleagues, you even had an extra 1 month for revision, and you were able to cover that period. And thanks to that effort, you were able to score maybe 85% in the GCE, up from maybe 70% or maybe 60% that you had in the previous years. So that is the result that you were able to have, thanks to that. So basically, that is how you were able to show leadership in your classroom. And you can show leadership even within your school environment, and you can show leadership outside of your school environment. There are things that you could do outside of your school environment. Maybe somebody talked about the competency-based approach of teaching. You could also say that, you could say the situation was that with the introduction of the competency-based education, many teachers in your school district were not aware or were not conversant with using that approach in their classroom. So what responsibility did you have? You could say that you felt that you had a task to train these teachers on how to implement this approach in their classroom. And what action did you take? You could say that you carry on your own personal research on the competency-based approach, maybe by doing research on the internet and reading about it in the library. And you have you have a grasp of the situation, and then you called a mini seminar for teachers. And in that seminar, you were able to present a demonstrated lesson where you were able to show how to use the competency-based approach in a history lesson, for example. And you train these teachers on how they can apply this competency-based approach in their classrooms by demonstrating a real lesson and showing them how they could implement that. And then now you move to your result. What result did you get? You can now say that thanks to that, about 30% of the teachers in your school district, or 40%, or maybe 50% of the teachers in your school district could now apply the competency-based approach in their classroom. And because of that, students have reported that they are able to grasp history lesson better than before, when it was just the root memorization approach that was being used. But right now, they could now be able to see how the approach, or how they can approach history in a practical way, in a way that they better understand the history lesson. You could also say, for example, if that was what happened, that your principal or maybe the regional delegate was very impressed with the seminar, and had even asked that you extend that to other districts within your region. So those are examples of how you can demonstrate leadership. So basically what we are saying is that you can use the STAR approach as a way to easily present your answer in a way that somebody can clearly see how you have presented, or how you have an occasion where you have demonstrated leadership. So the STAR approach is a very unique way, a very good example of how you can demonstrate your leadership quality. So basically, that is what I have for that question. I'll be open to questions when eventually they come up at the end of the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that wonderful presentation. If somebody could take a picture of me writing the STAR approach, I have been filling applications over and over, but I have never learned about this. So if there is no other person who is learning, I think Arabella is the first to learn. Okay, Delphine, I think I should hand the mic over to you. Oh, Loveline, sorry.
Yeah, Arabella, you were not the only one writing. I had to note it down myself. And just as a reminder to our participants, the approach that Richard brought up was the STAR approach, which is S for situation, T for task, A for action, R for results. So you can talk about your positive example using that approach, or talk about how you've been a leader one way or the other in your school. All is about community impact or what you've been doing in your community. Our next section is titled, or we'll be talking about how will your community benefit from your participation in the program? Describe at least 2 ways you will share. All right, describe at least 2 ways. I think Arabella, you took that away from me so fast before I could. And that section will be handled by Ako Tambe. Thank you.
Hello, Ako.
Hello, can you get me?
Yes, 5 on 5.
Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants. Once more, it's a pleasure having the privilege to talk about part 9.3. How will your community benefit from your participation in the program? Describe at least 2 ways you will share what you learn with your school and community or community. So I hope my screen is up.
Yes, it is.
Oh, great. Okay, so
yes, it is.
so this part of the question in your personal statement comes up with the understanding that your community may not have the means to pay you for your efforts. Your community may have cultural barriers, like promoting girl-child education in a Muslim community, for instance. Your community may be resistant to change. For instance, the fear of men in your community of losing their wives if they decide to let them go to school or continue your education. So with this understanding at the back of your mind, and the program already has some of these challenges. So this part of the personal statement wants to see your ability to overcome these challenges. And this ability is what will be considered as how your community may benefit from your participation. The training that you will go and get there upon return, how would you be able to overcome these challenges in order to create impact, in order for your community to benefit from this? So we are going to look at a number of possibilities that can help us overcome these challenges. And each of these possibilities would relate to the challenge. For example, the first challenge has to do with you don't have the means, the community does not have the means to pay you for your effort. Now, this is a program that has been offered to you for free. So you are coming back, it is likely that you should equally give it for free. And one of the ways of doing free work to people to help them, improve, to bring change is volunteer. So you have to specify that you will go for volunteerism. And this is one of the best ways to make people see how serious you are and how valuable the change you want to bring. Volunteerism is a great boost to your self-confidence, to your self-esteem, and life satisfaction. You can only volunteer because you know that what you're doing, you love it. What you're doing, you are so positive that it's going to bring change. And what you're doing, you're so confident that you master it. And that's why you're giving it out. And so that is a very good thing. And this kind of spirit, this kind of a way of bringing change to your community, of creating, of overcoming the difficult challenge of expecting payment, is going to motivate others to join you, to work together. It's going to motivate others, maybe to look for means that can help you succeed. So that's one of the ways you can, one of the possibilities you can explore in order to help your community get the knowledge you have acquired. Another possibility is by building relationships between you, remember you are a teacher, between you and the school administration. We have teachers who are always on the red books of the senior discipline masters, the vice principals, assiduity, late coming. When you have, if you are that kind of a teacher, it will be very difficult for you to convince your school in order to help you bring change. So you need to establish this good relationship, not only with the administration, even with parents and even teachers. Seek to be part of their meetings. I mean, parents, teachers, association, be part of their meetings, even administrative meetings. If there's something you would like to let them know that could be of benefit to the school community, seek to attend their meetings. You may be given 5 minutes to say something, and that's going to contribute a whole lot. Okay, take part in meetings organized in the villages, and all of these, do everything to contribute ideas. Another challenge that can help you overcome cultural barriers, as I said, like promoting girl-child education in Muslim community, are still under this idea. Meet stakeholders. You are not alone in the community. You have so much that you want to give to your community, but you find it very difficult. People will not believe you. They will not take you seriously. But in that community, we have stakeholders. We have people like the quarter heads, the chiefs, the councillors, the mayors, the parliamentarians, the senators. Go closer to them. Tell them that this is what you want to do, and you like them to help you achieve it. I think that again is going to help you overcome those cultural barriers, which may be as a stumbling block to promote girl education. And these are people the community believes so much in. And when they are able to gather these people and talk to them, the importance of promoting girl child education, that is going to help a lot in bringing the impact that you intend to create in your community. Another possibility, though you may not have the means, but you can contact people who sell clothes. Maybe they have some clothes, maybe some food items, some books, paying fees for poor children. You could identify these poor children in your community, especially the girl child who may not have the means to go to school, and you get your stakeholders to provide fees for them. You come and pay the fees. And that's another possibility that you can use, or you can apply in order to bring change to your community and create the impact and bring about the changes or the training that you have received, that you pass this training on to the people through this means. Another way that you could use to bring change in your community is you have to work in collaboration with other organizations to organize training workshops and sensitization campaigns. That's exactly what the Fulbright Alumni Association is doing. They are working together, they have put their resources together, energy together, they have come up with this umbrella association, and they're doing a lot when it comes to projects, moving from place to place, from region to region, implementing projects, bringing change at the level of inclusion, technology, promoting STEM education, at the level of enabling women in war zone areas in order to help them acquire, legal documents, like one of the wonderful projects that we had organized by the previous speaker, Mr. Ndifo Richard. It was a very fruitful project that he carried in the Southwest region. And these are all the things that we do. Once you are able to do these things, once you are able to demonstrate that this is how you're going to carry these, these activities in order to bring this change, then you are directly telling them that the challenges that your community face, you'll be able to overcome them. Wow, I think basically that's exactly what you have to do. It's a whole personal statement, so we are not going to, pack so many things in this personal statement. Otherwise, you end up writing lots of things. Just be specific, and that's why you are told that at least 2. So we have been able to provide you volunteer, build relationships, donate clothes or any other thing, work in collaboration. If you can pick up 2 of these at least, or maybe 3 at most, then it's going to help you demonstrate how you intend to help your community benefit from the training you have received from the T program. Thank you so much, Loveline. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you so much, Arabella, for this opportunity for me to contribute. If there are questions, fine, I will entertain them. And thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Ako Tambe, for that wonderful presentation. So far, we don't have any questions. We wish to remind participants that if you have any question while the presentations are going on, you can go ahead and type them in the chat box and we'll read them out later, or let's say at the end of the presentation, so that your questions will be answered accordingly. We'll move to the next part 4 of 9 of this presentation, which will be handled by Arabella. Arabella, are you ready?
All right, lovely. I am ready.
All right, still under the statement of purpose, part 4, the question will be, during the Fulbright T program, participants interact closely with participants from other areas of the world. What steps would you like to work and collaborate successfully with a person from another country? Give an example of a time you demonstrated flexibility in interacting with someone from a different culture. Arabella, over to you.
All right, thank you, Loveline. So what we decided to do is that we decided to share ideas in this particular aspect, because it's a very broad aspect and open aspect. So I'm going to be calling the people who will be talking. We will just chip in 1 or 2 ideas. So I will start with the president, Mr. Sam. So he's talking, and the question is asking about the steps we are going to take in meeting somebody. If you meet somebody, a participant for the first time, so what steps are you going to take? Mr. Sam, are we there?
Yes, Arabella. Once more, I'm back. I think the first thing we have to note here is that most often in the T program, T fellows, the co-host. I'm trying to bring out that word, where you have 2 persons sharing an apartment, sharing the same apartment, but in different rooms. So I think one of the first things that I'm talking about my life experience. So I had to share my room with a principal from Laos. So the first thing I had to do was to ask his identity, so that he should tell me his name, tell me more something about his family and all of that. And at the same time, I also do same. So what happens is that for any question, I begin by saying it. So for example, I start by introducing myself, talking about my family before I ask him, because it's a kind of polite way. So the next thing I had to do with him is to find out whether to tell him maybe some of the food, some of the food I like eating, some of the games I like to watch on TV and all of that. And maybe I had to tell him a bit something about my time schedule, because when we get back to our apartment, so we have time, we don't have the same time, we don't have the same time. So there are certain times that while we are in Cameroon, I'll tell him, know that at this time, I'll have to maybe call and talk to my family. At that very time, it can be very late for him. So I try to talk to him about the time difference. Then I also introduced to talk to him about my religion, to tell him that each time I want to eat, I will have to like pray, make the sign of the cross as a Catholic and all of that. And then he will do the same. And then when we share this kind of experience, and then we now went further to talk about the do's and the don'ts, so that he should tell me. I told him what I think will not be very good, that will not make me to be happy. And then take, for example, if I'm on phone call and he's playing music or put this thing louder, Or for example, if I'm in my own room and then he just pops in. No, I told him that we have to respect our privacy and all of that and all of that. So let me just these are a few things that I had to share with my roommate, and we have actually built healthier relationships, and we continue to share with each other up to today. Thank you, Arabella and others.
Thank you, Sam. When I was about answering these questions, like doing my plan for this, the picture of what we had in Nevada came in my mind, and I kept on laughing and laughing. And that is why I came with the idea that no, it would be good for us to share our experiences, because in our cohort we had these two fellows who were hosted in the same apartment. We had Jesus from Mozambique, and we had Mahmoud from India. Like Mahmoud was everything wrong. Somebody from India and you coming from Africa, you don't really know. Even though we have Muslims here, but sincerely, Mahmoud was everything wrong. I'm sorry to say that, but was everything wrong. Like from eating, from behaving, from talking. I'm like, Jesus came the next day in the hall and was like, Jesus, what is wrong with you? He said, everything is wrong with my host, my partner. Everything is wrong. And we're like, and when he said that, we write all the beautiful essays, how you're going to convince them, how you're going to do this, how you're going to, till you get to that situation, they put you with somebody you're never used to. If the hygiene, everything is the opposite of what you are or what you experience in your community. So that is why I wanted us to actually share our steps, the different steps we are going to take. So the next person I'm going to call on, if he's online, is Mr. Akaba James. Please, Mr. James, please, can you tell us some of the steps you're going to take to collaborate successfully with a person from another country?
Yeah, I remember this was one of the questions I answered at the interview. Yeah, so at the interview I was asked, will I find it challenging to collaborate or to interact with somebody from a different country? The first thing I said, I am going in for an adventure. And with an adventure, one must have an open mind. So I have an open mind. I'm eager to learn from somebody. I'm going to discover something new. Otherwise, I will not be going in for the program. So fortunately for me, when I arrived for the program in Winthrop University, South Carolina, I was paired with somebody from the Dominican Republic. He happens to be a Christian, a very gentle guy, and we never had any form of friction throughout. Our time together offered us a lot of opportunity to discover each other. He was Black like me, so we talked a lot of things about being Black and living in different continents. And then he too was very curious about Africa. When you meet an average Black person out of Africa who's never been to Africa, he's always curious about the roots. So we had such conversations, we had such late night moments. I remember even moments that the wife would call him and we ask him, are you sure you're in your bedroom? And he will have to pass the phone for me to confirm that he's staying true to himself. So we had a very good relationship, and to this day, we continue to collaborate. So it happens that sometimes you can really have a good brother, a good sister in a program like this. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I think that's one of the best, the most interesting part when you get there. I remember the first time, actually experiencing what it means to share the fridge. I mean, this small fridge, this small room fridge, where you have to buy your apple, you buy, and they come. My fellow participant I was sharing my room were like, on the first day, he came and said, okay, let's look at the fridge. We have 3 compartment. So you take the one up, I'll take the one down, and we're going to divide this one in the middle. So when you put your things there, you end this way, and I'm going to, and then she actually cut one hard paper and separated that one in the middle. So I just had to understand. And you're in a situation whereby everybody has to manage a stipend, and somebody comes into the room, we are 2 of you, you have to cook a cup of rice, you eat it alone, no matter whether the person is hungry or not. But it's part of collaboration, you just have to understand. So we just have to put these things in mind we meet people every day. Even in Cameroon, we meet new people every day, new faces every day, in church, in new colleagues at school. So there are different steps one would take to be able to collaborate successfully with those colleagues or the people you meet. So it's up to you. There is no one and fixed question answer to this. So it's just what you can tell, how you think you can collaborate. There are some people who are introvert. It's very difficult, very challenging for them to even start a conversation. But with that, you have to know how to answer that question. So with that, I think we are done with this part. I'm going to hand over the mic to. Yeah, Richard. I think Richard.
Can I quickly?
Yes, Richard.
Yeah, let me just quickly add. I just wanted to add to say that in answering this question, it is best when you demonstrate that with a concrete example of how you have been able to live with someone. You're sharing your experience about how you were able to live with someone with a different background. Personally, what I did in my AC was that I shared my experience when I went to Cast Bambili and I was unable to get a room for myself because my parents could not afford to rent a room for me alone. So I had to share a room with another guy from the Southwest region, most specifically from Manu. And so I shared my experience about how I was able to live with him. I talked about the fact that sometimes he would like to eat snails, which I do not really eat. I do not like it. Like, part of my culture is that I don't like it. But I will not refuse eating it by making some kind of derogatory remarks that will make him feel bad. I'll rather act as if I like to taste it. I would like to get how it feels and all of that. So sharing that kind of experiences will demonstrate to those who will be reading your application how you can perfectly live with someone from a different culture. So I just thought I should share this with the applicants to tell them that the best way of answering that question is actually sharing your own personal experience. If you have that kind of a real life experience living with someone from a different culture, that could be a perfect way of demonstrating how you intend to live with someone from a different culture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you, Arabella. Thank you for those memories. Just to add to that, I think it boils down to having an open mind. We generally come from cosmopolitan societies. If you look at our Cameroonian society, we realize how diverse we are. I think that is already a plus for us to be able to live together in a community of people from different backgrounds. So this can be carried out even out of our country. So at this stage, the applicants should have an open mind. They should be able to demonstrate how open-mindedly they will live with other people, show how patient they can be with other people, and understanding. Those are the key elements for you to be able to live with people from diverse backgrounds. When you talk of diversity here, it's not just Cameroonians. This time you're living with people from different religions, different cultures, different countries. Everything is different, so you have to live together. Maybe we take some questions. I see some hands are up. We take some.
I actually see a question. I was already preparing to answer that from Clementine. She's saying she thought the question was how you demonstrated in the past. If you see, the question has two parts. It says the first part says, what step will you take to work and collaborate successfully? What step will you take? And the second part is give an example, just like what Richard was saying, give an example of a time you demonstrated flexibility. So I think that if you look at what Sam said, the President Sam said, what Ako said, and what Richard said all has to do with the two parts. So always try to read the question. I think yesterday, Cynthia gave us one very good approach where you have to underline keywords. So each time you have a question, try to identify the keywords and look at the question carefully, because you might end up answering one part of the question and you leave out the other. To that, I will hand over the mic to Loveline. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Arabella, thank you. We have we have some hands up. We'll start with Sani, Cynthia. Cynthia.
Thank you, Loveline. Adding to what the others have said, especially what Richard said, which is really pertinent, I'd like to say that we have to underline certain values while answering that particular section. We have to underline values of empathy, values of religious tolerance, values of unity in diversity. Okay, our differences make us a team. Our differences make us to better appreciate each other. So I think that while answering that particular section, we should remember to underline some of those values which have been put to test earlier on in our lives, like Richard just said, how you were able to pull through. So we have to mention all the different values that come together by tolerating each other, living together, being careful the way we appreciate each other's values, cultures, and way of life, and not being judgmental, okay? If we have to share a space with someone, we have to be careful what we say and the way we do things, some of the words we use, slang, and all of those. So I wanted to reiterate that aspect, especially in line with what Richard said. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for highlighting those values, those core values, which we need to highlight as well if we're writing an application like this. I think we'll also let's listen from Ako Tambe, then we move to Elangwe Ben.
Okay, thank you very much, Lovely. I think this is very critical. Cynthia has said something very useful. We need to think about values. But what I would like to add here is that we have to be ready to give something and take, you know. Ask yourself, what if there are values that my friend, my roommate may not like, but what is it that if I keep those values, which she doesn't like, I can get from him? I would like to create, I would just pick this particular experience of mine. My friend, room partner, did not like music, loud music. I love loud music. My partner did not like this thing that we put in our dresses to make the dress more comfort. We call comfort. Did not like that one. You know, then what I did not like about him was garlic. He eats garlics, and then when we are conversing, he's smelling, you know. So all of these, at the end of the day, I discovered that, but apart from that, the things I don't like about him, but he helps me. He will carry my bag. He will, you know, tell me, what can I do for you? Can I help you? I said, wow, so this man is so nice. Despite the fact that there are certain things about him I didn't like. But thank God I did not even reproach him. I swallowed these things, and it was so, I felt terrible. But what he actually showed me as love, you know, covered everything negative about him. So we should be ready to give out. Now, another thing you have to bear in mind, there are some of us who have never had the opportunity to live with anybody. So it will be very difficult for us to cite an example. Here, I'll call on the participants to be very creative. Create a scenario which you might not have lived, make it as if you lived it, and then use all these techniques that we have given you, and then be able to overcome it. Then you'll be able to have a good application. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Ako Tambe. Let's go to the last person whose hand is up. Elangwe Ben, sorry. Before we continue with the presentations, Elangwe Ben. I see Elangwe Ben's hand up. maybe it's not online. Maybe Ben is not online. So we'll move to the next part of our, still under the statement of purpose. We'll be looking at part 5. Arabella, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Part 5. All right, part 5, please describe the opportunities available or challenges faced by students in your community to receive quality education. If applicable, describe how you have expanded or improved opportunities for access to education or addressed other important issues related to quality education in your community. Additional space. Please use this space for any additional information. Include any responses that did not fit the elsewhere in the application. So, Arabella.
All right. Thank you so much, Lovely. So if we want to look at the question carefully, there are certain things we have to take note of. We have described the opportunities available or the challenges faced by students in your community to receive quality education. So for the first part, we have opportunities available, challenges faced by students, and quality education. Now, for us to be able to know this, to go ahead, we are supposed to understand quality education. What is quality education about? So, and quality education is indicated in SDG 4, which says Sustainable Development Goal, which the aim is ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So that's what the SDG puts as quality education. So when answering this question, the opportunities, the challenges that you are looking at, if you want to solve them, you have to look at the targets, the various targets of the SDG to be able to identify those things that are there. You take them as the opportunities, and you look at your community, identify those challenges that are related to the various targets in able to bring out a solution. So, as I said, the goal has different targets. Some people say 7 targets, and the target 7 has 3 outcomes. Some people put it the other way around, that it has 10 targets and 3 outcomes. We'll just have to read on the SDG 4. So unfortunately, I can't share my screen. I tried to send my work, but it was very late. So Joe, you will just have to jot. If it's possible, we'll send it. We're going to share it in the general group. So I brought out some of the targets. Why did I do this? I know some people might not be understanding when we talk about SDG 4 and targets. It's not everybody who is very open to what is happening, of which we're supposed to be. So we have target 4.1, which says free, and that is to enable free primary and secondary education. I highlighted secondary education because that's what concerns us. From there, I go to target 4.4 because the other target is not really, it does not concern us actually in the secondary education. We have increased the number of people with relevant skills for financial success, vocational, technical, and entrepreneurship. That is what they talk about when it's relating to the financial success. We have target 4.5, eliminate all discrimination in education. We have gender disparity in education. Cynthia elaborated so much yesterday about that. We have ensure equal access to all levels of education. That's target 4.5. Target 4.6 talks about universal literacy and numeracy. Ensure that all youths, and it just has to do with numeracy. Let me not read that, it's long. Then target 4.7, ensure all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including others, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, now we know what the targets are talking about. We have entrepreneurship, we have free education, enable free education, gender disparities, and the rest. So when looking at the opportunities available, we talk about our school community, and you are able to go out of the school communities because that's like the school itself, the community around, because those children, they live in that particular community. So we are not just talking about our school. So we have opportunities. Now, looking at the opportunities in the school directly, we have the presence of the school library. Maybe your school is having the presence of a school library. For example, my school in Limbe, we had a small library, but actually it was functional. What can you, those are the opportunities. How can you use a school library? You might decide that during break or some days that you're free, you work with children who have difficulties maybe in reading and whatsoever. You use the school library to teach them out of school, your normal teaching hours. Those are opportunities for these children to have quality education, to receive quality education. For example, I had a child in my former school, I had a child who had dyslexia, that's reading difficulties. And most often I had to work with this child out of my teaching hours. There's some days, my free days, I come to school, I work with this child, try to help her to read, because I realized that it was really, really difficult for her. I know how dyslexia can be. So I use this school space to be able to teach this child. And this is a foreigner. There was a foreigner who was schooling in Cameroon. And the parents were so moved because by the end of the first term, the end of the first term, this child was able to read some certain things that she was not able to read. And one of the biggest thing I helped her was to overcome the fear, because each time the teacher enters the class, I realized that she was like always shy. She would hide her head so that I should not call her up, maybe to read. So one day she came to the staff room and told me that, please, madam, I have this problem. I have dyslexia. I had never known about dyslexia before. That was when I was even interested. That's when I became interested in knowing what dyslexia. And I realized that there were so many learning disabilities. So I worked, and by the time I was leaving Limbe, I informed the parents I'll be leaving Limbe, and they were so moved by what I did. So I used that opportunity to be able to teach this child, that's her gaining quality education. If you go back to our target, you will find that literacy and numeracy rates. So we have the presence of computer lab, internet services. I was so moved by the day I went to Lycée BMRC. They have the internet, the teachers are doing the internet. And I had my colleague I went to see, is a colleague. And she was there after school doing her research. She said she cannot go back home because the internet is not stable. So she plans her lesson in school, does her research, and she's one of the persons I admire when it comes to lesson plan. Each time she sends her lessons, or she has to present in the teachers group, you realize that she's different, her lesson is different. So she takes this opportunity, the computer lab, the internet. Now we have digitalization that is coming up. These are opportunities. If our school has a good equipped computer lab, like my school in Batoke, they had the internet there. We can use that to be able to train other teachers in terms of digitalization. Now, another opportunity we might look at is at the flexibility of your principal or school or head of department. I can guarantee you, my former principal, anything that has to do with developing the school, she's in for it. If it means her contacting the council, if it means her contacting the SDO, you writing a project, let her carry it there herself, as long as he had to develop JHS, but okay, she was in for it. So look, those are the opportunities you have to look at in order for these children to gain quality education. And I said, go back to the target. When you're talking about quality education, pick a target and elaborate on that target. The next thing you have to look at, dynamic staff, the willingness to accept knowledge sharing, because I won't find myself in a situation whereby by the day you go for tea and come back, everybody start looking at you like, look at that one, that knowledge, what type of knowledge you want to bring, which type of knowledge you want to share. But if you have dynamic staff that you go back, this knowledge you bring, you share with them, share how to prepare lesson plans in order to enable children to learn effectively, those are opportunities available for you. The next thing I try to look at as opportunity available, the presence of school club activities. In my school, and even most schools now, they have school clubs where I was the leader of the entrepreneurship clubs. I was teaching bidding, I was teaching other things. And at the end of the school year, or where we have activities, for example, we have bilingualism day, we're doing our presentation. These children we sell and we gather the money, and we look at the principal always take to try to look at those who have not paid their exam fee in time and try to top up. We had cases where I saw one of my students during holidays, she had made her own beats and she was selling. And I asked her, she said, yes, she wants to help her parents to raise her school fees for the next academic year. So you see, access to education, the fact that you taught this child how to do beading or whatsoever activity, making of handbags with Ankara material, and they're able to sell to pay their school fees, their statutory fees, enable them get access to quality education. We also have the availability of school WhatsApp groups today. So many schools have the WhatsApp group where you can teach children, organize a class online for catch-up. Those are opportunities. We have the presence of NGOs, CSO groups, the council, who are ready to give scholarship, prizes, school feeding. There are so many children who come to school and they are hungry. Fortunately, maybe we have the half day. So many schools that are still keeping the half day where you know that the child will come and go back by midday. So the hunger level will not be as when we were going to school from morning to 2:30. By the time it's break, the child is first of all traumatized. Yeah, he or she is seeing the friends eating and he has not eaten. And the maths teacher comes after that to teach math when the child is with a hungry stomach. So you see that you can, those are all, you can use these NGOs, the presence of NGOs, the presence of community-based organizations are there. They're always willing to call upon partners so that they can donate. You talk to them, call them, you talk to them about these children, you identify these children, and 1 or 2 persons will try to help. I think we have a very good friend, Mickey. He's presently in the UK and he can kill himself for school feeding because he knows what it is to study in an empty stomach. So those are the various opportunities we have to identify in our school, in the bigger community around us, so that we can use in order to achieve quality education. And as I said, quality education means a lot of things. Look at the different targets. Is it entrepreneurship? Is it free education? Complete. We talk about free education, but sincerely, there are some parents who cannot afford the statutory fee. They cannot even afford the uniforms. We talk about gender disparity. There are some girls who cannot afford pad in school. So when they are menstruating, they stay at home or they come to school like that and they're being disgraced. Those are all the different things we have to look at. Now, when we go to the next part, it talks about the challenges. Challenges will still go back to our school. I've already named them in terms of opportunities. We look at students can't afford statutory fees. Most of them stay away. I want to give this example. There is this child, I realized that most Tuesdays and Fridays, this child was not coming to school. And when I talked with a student, she told me that she's staying with her mom and this mom is always sick. So every Tuesday, she'll have to go and sell in the market. Tuesday and Friday, that was in the market. She'll have to leave everything. She'll have to stay away from school to be able to go and sell, to afford for her siblings' fees, afford for hers, afford for feeding and whatsoever. So these are challenges that students have in the community. We look at those with disabilities. Some children can't comfortably come to school because of the various disabilities that they have. We have long distance to school. Some children, I remember in carrying out a project in the community of Obala and Tui. One of the problems we're trying to solve was to build schools in communities without school, because these children don't have to walk long distances to school. They get to school tired after the 7 hours in school. They walk back the long distances to school, and imagine that this child has not eaten. We have the challenges. We have the presence of child labor. Some children are staying with their maybe family members, and they do all the works. They go to the farm, they're involved in child labor. It's so common with the community of Obala and Tui, those cocoa zones. I've worked there, I know what the children are facing. We have gender-related issues. Cynthia talked about that, I don't have to elaborate. We have difficulty in achieving digitalization, even though some schools have computer labs, others don't. Teachers, we are talking about digitalization. Teachers are not trained, are not being trained, and they expect us to come from nowhere and start presenting PowerPoints when I don't even know how to type maybe A or D on my keyboard. They don't have laptops and the rest, and we are talking about digitalization. We have children with learning disabilities, dysgraphia, dyslexia, and the rest. We have language barrier. This is what I face in my school as an English language. There are days that I feel like crying in my school because you're in a monologue, you're talking alone. So what do I do? Those are the challenges that these children, and they have, when you finish, the children ask, they'll tell you that, Madam, l'anglais, c'est Dieu qui donne, meaning that you have just wasted your time in that class. They themselves have not understood anything. And even when you set the exams, you actually see that you were just there doing your own. And now, so the next part of that question talks about, if applicable, describe how you have expanded on or improved opportunities for access to education or address other important issues related to quality education in your community. Those of us talking as Fulbright members, we have been doing much in our community. We're exposed, some of us were exposed before traveling, and others came back and started doing what they are doing. So we might be speaking high language. For example, I write project, I execute projects for child labor activities or Obala. Richard has done projects to enable children without birth certificate or have access to birth certificate so that they can register for public exams. We have Philip, who did COVID-19. Please, the little that we do in our community whatsoever, even just removing 200 francs and helping a child to pay a taxi or to buy food for a child, please, that's something you have done to improve opportunity, access to opportunity. When you look at those targets and you realize that a child can collapse in school without eating, then you know that you have done much by giving that child 200 francs. So we just have to look at one or two ways. I have this colleague in my former school. Every break, you will see that colleague teaching a student. That is her own way of improving quality education. I mean, every day in school during break, you see two students coming. She'll start by drawing, elaborating their timetable, reading timetable. She'll emphasize, did you follow this? Did you follow this? And when you have past questions, juicy past questions, they answer them. Like during break, that's how she spends her break. That is her own way of enabling quality education. Teaching somebody to read is enabling quality education. You are reducing the literacy rate, improving on the literacy rate. Today we are talking about the learning crisis everywhere. They say the number of children who have learning crisis today, the percentage of learning crisis in the world keeps on increasing because these are children who cannot read or write or attain the level of which they put for a child to be able to read and write when he or she completes primary school, getting to secondary school. And most of us, we have those challenges, those village communities. We have all of those challenges. So look at what you are doing in your community. That's how you expand. You answer the second part and you elaborate on that. So I think I'm done with my presentation. I'm going to hand over the mic to Loveline. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Arabella. Thank you for that rich presentation as you try to identify opportunities that one can find, opportunities of education that one can find in their school environment, as well as challenges, and what you have already carried out as a candidate, as an applicant. And I think the main idea here is to let the applicants know that whatever you are doing should not be something on a very large scale. It shouldn't be like you must look for those very great things that you have been doing. Every little activity you do counts. Everything you do counts. So don't think that because you have not done a big project like feeding all the students in your school, you have not been doing something. No, even just helping a single student to succeed in their examination, especially, or fighting for a student to be able to be in school and so on. Those little drops that you've been doing so far, they all count in improving on the quality of education. All right. Okay, I think Cynthia wants to intervene. Then after that, we'll have presentations from Mr. Akaba and Mr. Kwake. Cynthia, over to you.
Thank you. Arabella, that was quite an insightful presentation. I'd like to say a few words about that particular part. to say that the SDG 4 comes against the backdrop of the nuance that exists between quality education and quantity education. And one of the indicators of quality education is students' achievement level. So in answering that question, if your community or your school environment has issues with student achievement level, you may want to look at some key elements that affect students' achievement level or that affects quality education. And we could be looking at the teacher and teaching methods. Let's not forget that teachers can equally pose a problem to quality education, to students getting quality education in order to improve their achievement level. We equally have educational content. Let's be mindful of how we digest our curriculum or syllabuses. Let's be careful how we dish out our syllabuses or our curriculum to our learners, because this may go a long way to affect the quality of the education that they receive. Let's equally be mindful of our learning environment. Do we have a convenient, suitable learning environment, or do we contribute in our school in making sure that the learning environment is conducive for learners to be able, to get quality education in order to improve the achievement level, which is just one of the indicators of quality education, which I said. Also, we can look at school management. Are we contributing towards the school management in one way or the other to improve quality education for our learners? What are some of the preconditions for pupils? Are there some preconditions that affect learners? Like Arabella said, situations where learners have issues with dyslexia and all of those. Are there some of those preconditions that as educators, as teachers, we can support learners in order to help them achieve quality education and funding, organization, and what have you? So I wanted to draw our attention or attention of the applicants to some of these different areas that we can consider or that we contribute in our communities, in our schools, in order to ensure quality education. And one of its major indicator, which is improving achievement levels for learners. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, for that. That was really rich too. So Loveline, I think there is a hand up. Maybe you just handle that.
Yeah, I think that was Cynthia's hand. We'll just go over to James and Gerard. They have something for us too as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It has been such a very enriching session. So we are moving to which I can term building a very good strategy for success. So the first thing I'm going to address here is that of pedagogy. If you've paid very keen attention for all the 3 days that we have had a presentation, it has all been focused on teaching, on education. So too often when teachers are asked, to do an application for a program like this, they sometimes are tempted to forget about the incredible work they do in the classroom or the magic you do to get students to understand. And then they jump into thinking of activities they perform with NGOs. And then by the time they fill up the application, you find very little to do with pedagogy. The US system has so much deep respect for teachers. Every year they have what they call the National Teacher Grant, or the best teacher for the year. And the honor they give such a teacher is usually so much. So the first thing, this program is for teachers, and you're applying for it as a teacher. And if you go through the content of your application, about 60, 70, 80% of it should be about how you're carrying your duty as a teacher and how you are going to use that program to improve on your teaching in the classroom. They're looking for people who are very passionate about what they're doing, and the intention is to help to improve the quality of that education, because that's one of the, in fact, it is the most powerful weapon that can be used to change the world, according to Mandela. Now we move to the other part. In fact, these things I'm sharing with you, they are at the point of evaluation. Language is very, very important when it comes to this application. If you look at, for international teachers, I mean teachers from different countries that their first language is not English, the expectation for a score in the TOEFL is 40 on 120. But within Cameroon, there are many teachers who take the TOEFL test and they often have a score that is like 80, sometimes it's 60, 70. If you don't work extremely hard on your English language and you have any score that is less than 60, then you compromise on your chances. We have seen teachers who have reached the final point, but they fall off because they take the test and they score really very poorly. It is very difficult to leave somebody who has had like 110 on the TOEFL and pick up somebody who has just something like 80. So these are things that are very important. And then in terms of the number of years of teaching, in our time during the program, the average teacher who was there had spent 12 years in the classroom teaching. I'm bringing this up just to say that it is a process. This application is more than a process. You may apply one time, you may not get it. Apply 2 times, you may not get it. You may apply a series of times. There are some people who apply just once and they get it, but others may need to apply like 2, 3 times. So do not be discouraged if you don't get it the first time. The secret is that diversify your application. Apply for this program, apply for Susie, apply for the Humphrey program, apply for other Fulbright programs. And there are programs too, like the Obama Foundation program, a lot of other programs that even have some more financial benefit than the Fulbright, if the focus was on finances. But then Fulbright is very, very prestigious. The next aspect is entrepreneurial leadership, networking skills. As a teacher, there are plenty of opportunities in the classroom to demonstrate entrepreneurial leadership, plenty of them. And one of them is clubs in school. When it comes to coordinating clubs in school, teachers are often kind of forced to do the work. The principal has to be running after, after teachers, asking them to do one activity or another. But if you make a difference by doing some very little things, like taking up a club, helping students to develop extracurricular skills that they can easily market. For instance, when you find a girl who is very good at singing or a boy very good at singing, it is possible that that girl or boy will make a whole career from music. So we find those ways to enable students to grow holistically while in school. Those are things that add a lot of credit. I remember the first time I went for the Fulbright program, there was a program on gender sensitive education. And then they did a few presentations. I was like asking questions. But I teach physics. I don't know how I am a little bit biased against girls. Then I realized that our system has had those kind of expressions. For instance, I had to set, I did notes, I worked on notes. And in the notes, I had something like an astronaut. An astronaut had to fly from this part of the earth to another part of the earth. And then she took off with the velocity of this. I gave a colleague to go dictate those notes, and the colleague went to the classroom. Everywhere I put a she, he took time and was changing everything to a he, and changed, in fact, just messed up my notebook because that teacher was not conscious of gender sensitive education. So these are some little things that you need to pay attention to when you're working on the application for this program. So otherwise, there's a section in the application that they will ask you, would you want to take part in this program? If you say no to that program, it is somehow an automatic elimination for you. Now we move to the aspect of social justice and being a champion of SDG 4. The purpose of teaching is for success in life. If you teach students and you don't teach them those secrets to succeed in life and fail, then you've not done your work. I always talk about in my classroom as somebody who's gone to the farm to do some planting. If I plant today and tomorrow I'm not able to have a good harvest, then I did not do effective planting. So aspects of social justice are always very important in a system of teaching. When we talk of social justice, if you have people with disability, people with dyslexia, how are you reaching them? If you have people who are kinesthetic learners, are you designing your lesson in a differentiated way to accommodate those things, those aspects? You have questions like that to answer. For instance, one of the most important questions you have to answer: why should you be given this opportunity? Why would you want to go have more education? What is the prospect of more people benefiting from what you're going to gain? And during my own time, I talked of a situation where I got to school where students just had, they had phobia for physics, they had phobia for further mathematics. I came in and I packaged a whole lot of jokes and made my class so exciting. So there will be students who want to attend my class just because they want to get the fun time I make in class. And at the end of the day, they learned and started, picking up one or two things. And it took so many years for me to start getting messages from them. I did not have a pass in further maths, but in Canada here studying, I have an A grade because of being involved in the class. So these are some of the little things you do that make a difference. Now we talk about aspects of public speaking. Communication in this program is very important. You have to take an interview at the embassy. At that interview in the embassy, you have an opportunity to market yourself. And again, remember, it is all about pedagogy, all about teaching. Start from the classroom, start from the school campus before you go anywhere. Talk about perhaps the fact that you're putting in a lot of work to ensure that the syllabus is completed. Talk about the fact that you are going a little bit extra beyond what is in the syllabus to teach students essential skills for survival. So these are some of the things that you need to demonstrate that you teacher leadership, you have an open mind to learning. Now, one of these things which I must say and say again, I'm in the US, I'm in Maryland as I'm speaking to you now. The USA is not all a rosy place. It's not it's not super rosy place as some people may think. So do not just go say, do not make statements like the education system in your country is so bad. You're going to change the education system. Even a minister of education doesn't have powers to change the education system, talk less of somebody who just participates in an exchange program. So sometimes we need to make goals that are realistic. So know that you're coming into the program, they call it exchanges. It is a forum where discussions are encouraged. You share best practices. So as much as you're teaching in Cameroon, do not come to the US with any inferiority complex. Know that you know something. It's not like you're coming with what we would call a wasabi or some superiority complex. Just believe that you're selected for this program because you can contribute to foster the conversations. So in talking about things like you contribute to, improving on the educational system, you contribute your best to take the education to another level. You can only improve on an educational system. It's a little bit so difficult to change one. The one country that I've seen them change an educational system is Rwanda, where they switch from French system to English system. Otherwise, you're contributing to improving on the educational system. So use words that are impressive, but let them also be very realistic. Now we talk about paying some little attention to culture. You may get into moments where they're talking about LGBT, talking about things that may conflict with your religion, but know that you have a goal. You want to learn, you want to have an open mind, you want to discover the world. So do not get into arguments with people over things that you may just let sleeping dogs lie. You may not have situations that because people are liberal, but know that you're not coming to impose a culture on people. You're not coming to tell them that your culture is the best. No, we talk of cultures are different. There's nothing like one culture is better than the other because there's people just love your culture the way it is. There are Muslims who would cut off the head of somebody for committing some crimes, and they love it that way. So just talk of cultures being very different. And then in the assessment generally, if you have traveled, if you had a lot of exposure, your chances of getting selected are a little bit dim. I'm just saying these ones for people to know, but you don't have to lie on your application. I think we already talked about that one. And then CAFTAL has been carrying many fascinating projects. I mean, the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association, we've carried so many fascinating projects in the field. I know a lot of you attending these programs, you've participated in those programs. Those are avenues where you build your community engagement spirit. It's not enough to go participate in these programs. In fact, the program is a 6-week program. but the bigger bulk of it is the work you do back home. So when you already develop, when you already demonstrate that you have that spirit, that community engagement spirit, you have higher chances of getting selected than somebody who just gets up, walk into the classroom, teach, and walks away, and that is it. There are some teachers that if you meet them on the street, they behave as if they don't even know you, but there's some teachers who follow up their students to make sure that, you know, they get so engaged. And then, so again, they're looking into people who are very committed in the teaching, people who are passionate, people who come into the field and work to transform students, transform lives, transform the community, and, you know, continue to lift the level of education higher, because education, I mean, whatever the question is, the answer is always education. So be a little bit more strategic the way you approach your application, because at the end of the day, how many people might apply? We may have about 80 people apply, and then they may need to select 3, they may need to select 4. So read your application over and over. Do not, in fact, if they say 100 words here, don't put 50 words. When somebody is reading an application and sees it's scanty, I'm just saying this very clearly to everybody. When they are grading applications and they see a scanty application, that's a sign that that person is not serious, and nobody will waste a minute to read that. They just send it to the chat. So put in some quantity, be kind of what we say punchy, start in a way that will help the, you know, the person assessing to be glued on the application, and then you may go a little bit chunky a little bit later. So with all of this, we are wishing all of you the best. Last year we ran a mentorship session like this. It was very enriching, very impactful, and people who attended, in fact, everybody who participated, who is participating in the program this year or participate this year, actually attended that session. And it is our hope that we will walk this journey together. And again, remember, this is not all of it. We're here, we'll continue with the other mentorship session, because just traveling itself is a whole book, is a whole experience. You are teaching students today who travel a lot. And when you travel a lot, when you travel to, there's no way they can challenge you. When you build your skills on instructional technology, there's no way they can challenge you. We teachers, we always have to be ahead. Thank you so much.
Wow, Jimmy, thanks a lot. That was just so much. I think since I came back from the US, I've been attending this program, the mentorship program. And I think from the next year, when I do the next year, I will simply go to university and ask for a doctorate degree, because we are not only running the program, but we are learning a lot. Day in, day out, people come up with wonderful ways of writing their essays. And if I go back to write my essay from what I did 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I think I will write a perfect essay. Thank you so much. So Loveline, I'm going to hand over the mic. I think we should be having some questions. There is Gerard who is supposed to present. Let me hand over the mic to you.
Yes, to Gerard. Gerard is taking over right now.
All right, that's fine.
Thank you all. Thank you, Arabella. Thank you, Loveline. How's everybody doing? At least everybody has been so quiet. I want you guys to unmute your mics and at least talk. I want to hear everybody's voice, because you've all been so quiet. I want to hear you talk. Just talk.
Ready for your ears to
Oh my God. Well, this is a wonderful mentorship.
Really good. It's really
Hello,
good.
Good
evening, Gerard. Hope all is well.
I'm glad.
Good evening, Jimmy.
Hello,
man. How are you?
Hello, man.
Hello, everyone.
All right, that's good. That's good. You can all mute your mics now.
Open-minded.
Hello to Capital. Hello to Capital.
Right. Good. Let's mute our mics now. Let's mute our mics. I wanted to be sure that we're actually talking to people, not to ghosts, because I see like a lot of people, and so quiet.
We are grateful for the work you are doing for us.
All right, we thank God for everything. All right, so okay, let me go ahead now. You're gonna ask that questions, or if you want to ask me more stuff, you could ask me at the end. But let me go ahead and present what I have for you guys. I'm called Gerard Kwake presently. I'm in the United States. I live in Indianapolis, that's in Indiana. I work with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, but I was a former Fulbright alumni too. Fulbright fellow in Winthrop University with James. Yeah, so he's telling us some of his experiences, and I'm like just thinking of a good time we had there. And the one thing he didn't tell you, James, don't stop me from saying it. The one thing he didn't tell you is his co-roommate, or his roommate, sorry, ended up getting married to one other T fellow. That's what happened at the end of that program. It was a great thing from our own cohort. So remember, you could find some good stuff when you go for the T program, guys. You could. But I'm not saying you should go out there to look for a spouse, okay? I'm just saying, just be open, just be good. All right, okay. I don't know if I am able to share my screen. I'm coming in at the end. I don't know if it's actually the end. Just to give you guys hope, that the T program, the Fulbright T program, is not the only program you have. Always say that. That's not the only program. All right, I'll go ahead and mute. That's okay. All right, I got you muted. Okay, good. So, okay, I think I should be able to share my screen. That is, let me see who is having that. I have to mute this person. I mute you too. Yeah, that was Chi, Mildred. And we have Bokwe. I have to mute you. All right, I think I'm good right now. That's where the noise was coming from. Okay, let me try to share my screen. Let's see, all right. Okay.
Sharing the screen. While you're sharing the screen, one thing I should quickly say is that culture is an important aspect of it. Yeah, so if you, your traditional attire and all of those things, or things that you do in the community, are very important part of this. Over to you, Gerard. Let's go on.
All right, thank you, James. Yeah, James is just reminding me, when I got to the United States, I had the Lela flute, and wherever we went to, I had to blow it, and it was a great impact on all those foreigners, guys. It was really, really good. All right, so I'm coming at this point just to let you guys know that the Fulbright T program is not the only opportunity that you guys have. You have a lot of opportunities. You do have a lot of them. So once you start applying for opportunities to get to the United States, please don't stop. If that's what you want to do, don't stop. Just like they said, you're going to have like 100 or even up to 200 applications going, but they need to select like 2 or 3 candidates only. They need just 2 or 3. So what are the chances that you guys are going to be selected? So think about it. That's what you should think. So don't think that that's the only thing you could do, or don't think that you must be selected. And when you don't get selected at the first point, you just like stop. No, do not stop. Keep on trying to apply. So I'm going to jump in just to give you guys a few more programs. So, and I'm going to be like copying the links. I'm going to give you the links. I can copy this and I will be able to drop it in, let me see. I think I should be able to drop this at the end. Yep, I should be able to drop this in the chat. So that's the very first one. I dropped that in the chat. You have the link in the chat messages there. You have a program that is known as a Foreign Academic and Cultural Exchange Service. We call it FACES. This is a program that can take you as a teacher to the United States, and then you're going to be able to teach from 3 to 4 years. You look at the page that I have up. I have just a page that has the eligibilities. You could go ahead and you look to see if you are like qualified. Remember that when they're asking for your teaching experience, any experience you've got in teaching, even if you were like doing part-time, if you were doing like tutoring students at home, that is an experience in teaching. So go ahead and include that. Don't just look at this and say you are not eligible. And remember again that when they talk about a 4-year bachelor's, the US bachelor's degree or an equivalent, they talk about an equivalent. Our 3 years is equivalent to their 4 years. And then remember again that what you get from lower ENS is the same thing. Like you can consider it a bachelor's degree. So go ahead and you apply for that. Don't get discouraged. At times it's the quality of your application that makes you to be selected. So at times they just look at it and they're like, hey, this guy is good, even though he doesn't have a degree. And then maybe when they go ahead and they interview you, they realize you are really, really good. And that's where you get selected. So you have FACES, which is one of the first programs I like to share with you guys. We have a lot of Cameroonians who are here. And just to let you guys know, please, when you come to this country through these programs, through any of these programs, please, when you go back or while you are here, try to help others get the program. Do not make a business out of it. There are a lot of guys in the United States who have come in through these programs and who were even helped by us, who have turned this to a business where they take like 2-3 millions from other teachers from back home in order to help guide them on this. They don't even make them understand that it's a program they can do by themselves. They tell them, oh, we've got a connection. And then they go ahead and tell you, hey, give 3 million. They're going to just be asking the documents from you. They're going to make you like to put in this, to put in that. And then they say, hey, you're going to have the interview such a day. This is what you should say. And you actually think, oh, they help you through a connection, whereas it's something that you could do yourself. That is why the Fulbright T Alumni Group is there to expose you guys to most of these things. And I am one great fan of always putting out all this to you guys with no fear, because what am I going to lose if you come through this program? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, they're going to be happy that, hey, this is going to change the face of one family back home. So the next one is known as EPI. That one is Educational Partners International. This is it too. So this one, it's almost the same like Faces. You simply need to go into it. You click on apply and you just start feeding in everything that is there. If you don't understand anything, you have all the Fulbright T Alumni Group. They are right there and they are ready to like answer any question, because some wordings from the United States are different from what you guys think there. Okay, so you go ahead, you ask us, we're going to help you. We are always ready. And this is, well, before I go to this one, the Alliance Abroad, just to let you know, Faces and API have been a little bit reserved from Cameroonians because they've had like a lot of rejections from the embassy. And like what I mean is the embassy has been like denying visas to some of the teachers who want to come through this. I said some, I didn't say all, to some of the teachers, and they're a little bit reserved, but they are still like on, guys. They are still on. So the next one, you have the Alliance Abroad. This is the most common that guys are using right now. And I have like 3-4 guys who just got into the United States through Alliance Abroad. And this is good. This is a good one too. You can see, they say the program length is 3 to 5 years. Oh, all right. A little secret about that. 3 to 5 years. Guess what? We are all, I don't know if I should use this, but we are all about brain drain here. Sorry, I'm going to use that. We're all about brain drain in the United States. If we see that you are the best in something, there is no way we're letting you go back. Okay? If it's a program like this and you are that good, if you come and you are that good teacher, you are that one that has shown the best to the kids and that everybody wants to keep, guess what? You're going to be kept right there. They're going to like extend your contract. They're going to make sure that they do everything possible to keep you. So 3 to 5 years shouldn't be like a thing that is going to scare you. Okay. So don't bother about this 3 to 5 years. You can live 10 years. You can live 20 years. It depends on how you sell yourself. So you need to be a good marketer of yourself. And all right, this Alliance Abroad actually has a main group here, which is Alliance for International Exchanges. And you can see the Alliance Abroad, it's in it. You have many others. You have Amity Institute Cultural Visas and the rest. You can go through all this. What I want to encourage you guys to do is always read. Always read. Oh, the links. Sorry, I'm going to send, this is the link for EPI. I'll give you the link for EPI. That is a link for EPI. And then this is a link for Alliance Abroad. That's it. Somebody still has the hot mic. And I don't want to go back to look for that. Hey, James, can you check whose mic is on, please? Thank you. And then this is the main link for the Alliance International. I'm going to put it in there. And then an opportunity for our students. Tech girls. Tech girls. This is something that most of you don't even know, that you could actually like help your students get qualified for a program that is going to take them to the United States. This is one good example. Tech girls. Go into this program, look at it, check the eligibility, and then what you're going to do is you're going to help your students. Don't expect them to write something good. So that's why you have to come in. You have to help them like go through the application process and they will be able to come to the United States and also gain an experience. Tech Girls has to do with all the female students that are in the STEM subjects, talking about the sciences, technology, mathematics, physics, and the rest, all those science subjects. So that's what Tech Girls is all about. Okay, and the next one that I have here, I do have the Tech Women. This one now is for like instructors, or even like, it goes even right up to science students and the rest. If you're like a science teacher, you can go for this one. If you're a science student, you can go for this one, but female only, careful, female. So these are programs you should be able to like explore. Go ahead. Did I put the Tech Girl? Let me put the Tech Girl link. Let's have it in there. Oh yeah, it's right in there. The Tech Women too. I'm going to put it in here for you. The entire academic year studying in the lower SIP in the United States. So, oh yeah, I see Kingsley telling me that he's got like 2 students into the Tech Girl program. Good job, Kingsley. Keep on helping those kids to gain access to these programs. That's great. I love that. Okay, that's for the YES program. So with a YES program, it's a whole year and a whole academic year that the child is, the student is going to spend in the United States. All right, then I'm going to take you guys to the US Embassy website. This is where you're going to get a lot more things closer to you than going through the sites that I've mentioned to you. But these ones, most of them are exchange programs. And you equal that. So if you get to the United States website, I think I should drop this too. Maybe drop it from this point, but you should be able to get through this, navigate through this with no problem. I have that there for you. And if you, I'm gonna walk through it with you guys. I'm going to go a little bit fast since I don't have much time. So look at this. If you go right down, you're going to look at local programs. When they say local programs, it doesn't mean that it's local in the local sense that you think. Local means something done at the level of your community or at the level of your country. That's what it means. And if you click like on the educational exchange programs, hey, James, somebody's mic is still on. Can you mute that person for me, please? Thank you. All right, if you look at this, these are the educational exchange programs and you click on them, this is where you're gonna have a lot of things that can help you. Look at this, guys. The Fulbright program is right here. You have the Herbert Humphrey Fellowship Program right here. That's a 10-month program. And then you look at this, and you have now our Almighty Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program is right there, which is the one for secondary school teachers. And you have to see the same thing. You could have to see for secondary school teachers, and you have to see for educators. And then this is the YES program I mentioned. This is the Tech Women program. You have other fellowships like the Mandela Washington Fellowship programs, international writing programs, etc. Yeah, guys, you do have a lot of opportunities. My problem with most Cameroonians is they don't want to read and they don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to take some little time to write an essay and ask maybe somebody to help them edit. If you click your program announcements, that's where you're going to find most of the ones that are on at that time. If you click program announcement, you're going to find most of them. The ones that are available, you're going to see that closing dates. Hey, look at this. Fulbright, Teaching Excellence and Achievement. This is what you guys are getting mentorship for right now. Look at when it closes, March 20. So you see that? That's what I mean. You see what is open. That's open. Susi was already closed already. You see the deadline, etc., etc. You go down, you're going to see all about them. Remember that you have the program. You can come for a master's. You can come do a master's program in the United States. Oh, let me see. I think this is it. Oh, this is African Research Scholars. This is like for researchers. I think, let me see. Go right down. Hey, there it is. For a Fulbright Foreign Student Program. Before I got to the United States, I was selected to come do a master's in the United States for this. But guess what? I dropped that because there was something else. All right, so this is where you're going to get a lot of those announcements. Do you want me to drop this too? I'm going to drop it. I have no problem with that. Let's see. Okay, I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost done. So now I'm going to take you guys to one last point. These are the bridge programs. This is where you're gonna have a lot of exchange programs, educational programs, teaching programs for you to like come to the United States. Please take your time, go through them. Whenever you have any time available, any spare time, go through them, read and see which one you can use to come to the United States. All those programs are mentioned to you. If you check in here, you're going to find them. Like I think FACES, for example, if you put in here, you should be able to find that. Yeah, you should be able to find them. I've never tried to do this because I already know the programs in mind. Let's see. Oh, I don't know what's happening right now. Well, but this, I'm going to give you this link. You should be able to go through the link and you're going to like have a lot of exchange programs, a lot of exchange opportunities for you. And I think that is what I've got for you guys. And I can keep on like saying, you guys trying already to go for this program, you are like already a good step towards trying to help your country, towards trying to do great things to your country. And I'm going to advise those who successfully like get selected and come for this program. I'm going to advise you, please go back home. Go back home and you'll be surprised what awaits you there. And you'll be surprised what blessings are going to wait for you, are going to take place in your life. So this is what I got to share. And if you have any questions for me, feel free. I think I will drop my phone number. Oh no, you guys are all in the WhatsApp group, so you can always like text me. You can call me at any time. If I'm not at work, I'm going to answer you. So thank you guys for listening, and I think it was a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to share this with you guys. And I wish everybody the best. And please don't be shy. Ask your questions. Don't be shy. There is no dumb question. Don't say that, oh, if I ask this, you're going to think I am dumb. None of you is dumb. You're all like intelligent people who want to know more. So thank you. And I wish everybody good luck again. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and ask me. Thank you, Lovelyn. Everything is over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Gerard. Thank you so much for the extra resources. This should make the participants to be aware that it is not only Fulbright C, and if we can't make it through Fulbright C, there is hope for another opportunity. And I think today's session has been so enriching, an opportunity that has really awakened many minds, I believe so, making teachers to know that besides being a classroom teacher, there is a lot you can do for your community, and everything you are doing for your community counts. Don't minimize your role. Don't minimize what you've been doing so far. And if you've not been doing anything so far, there is still room and there's still time for you to wake up and contribute, because every contribution counts to make our society a better place. There's a lot you can do in your school. There's a lot you can do to help your students. There's a lot you can do in your community at large. And that way we'll move to that generation, to that stage that we all envy out there. All right. Thank you so much, Gerard. Thank you so much for all the presenters for today. And I think we have some questions in the chat box. Unfortunately, I went offline at one moment, so I cannot go back to those questions. Arabella, if you have those questions, please, you can read them for us. And if others have questions, maybe they can put them, they can present, they can indicate by hand show, and then we'll continue from there.
Okay, let me just go through the questions. For the links, if we have, oh, anyway. All right, so we have a series of questions. Let me just go through them carefully. So I think this one is relating to the last presentation we have. The person is asking, Ms. Spa is asking, what about physical structure of school environment? or the school environment. Those are the challenges. I think James answered that, as well as Cynthia. So we'll not go back to that question. Does it mean that it is not an opportunity for guidance counselor? So they are asking about the opportunity. This is CV is asking if the opportunity is not for guidance counselor.
I think that question was answered on the first and
Yesterday.
second days.
Yeah, first and second day.
Yeah. Just go through the eligibility criteria and see if you fit, if you are okay. If not, go ahead. I think guidance counseling is a social science. I think it's a social science. Yeah, so they're surely eligible for that.
Okay. Can I apply from as a Nigerian? Yes, you can apply. We had a lot of Nigerians there.
Yes. Yes, as a Nigerian, if you're a Nigerian national, you should check the Nigerian US Embassy website.
Yeah.
I think they'll be applying through the Nigerian US Embassy website and not through the Cameroonian US Embassy website.
Claudia says, I missed the part talking about the level of English we should have to apply to T. Please, can you talking about it again? I think since Claudia, you just go back to the website and you try to read about that and the level of English that you need for you to be able to apply for the program. So with that, I don't think we have more questions except they have them right now. They put them.
Yes, Arabella.
Yes, Sam.
Yeah. I think James actually elaborated more on the language aspect, the English proficiency, which is actually qualified by the TOEFL exam. So at the level of the application, the different applicants have to just be consistent in the way they present their facts in good English, in a way that reviewers can easily understand. But they should also have in mind that they will have to undertake a TOEFL test that has an elimination mark.
Yes, to add to that, Sam, I think candidates should not really bother much about that at the moment. They should go ahead and do the applications and just try to write the best they can. I think if Elise were online, he would have encouraged them more, because Elise's example, Elise is from a French-speaking background, and he had to write most of his essays and translated them into English language, and then worked on himself when he was selected for written and did his TOEFL, and today is a Fulbright T alumni. So I don't think that candidates should be so worried about their level of, it's good to have that good level of English, because normally you'll be communicating over there in English language, but then first try to get a good application written, and then you'll cross that bridge when you get there. Arabella, or maybe there's something else to be added.
Yeah,
all right.
Let me add one or two things. Yeah, let me add one or two things. I just saw Mr. Teta Philip there. Yeah, I'm actually in agreement with your point that they should go ahead and submit the application as they can at the moment, but then afterwards, to stand prospects of making it right to the end, you need to take that aspect of the English language seriously. Because Elise, I happen to have gone through his application. The guy is excellent. He did everything excellently. Even his TOEFL score was quite good though. Okay, let's proceed. So when you participate in a program like this, it just unlocks many other great opportunities for you. So far, within the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association, there are teachers who have gone into more programs after participating in this one. So right now we have Mr. Teta Philip. I'm sorry for just cutting on with this. He is currently a Fulbright scholar in the US, and he's online. I just felt like he should take at least 30 seconds and share some benefits of starting off with this, because when you start that journey, the lifelong learning just becomes a part of you. Hello, Mr. Teta Philip, please, can you just unlock and give a word of advice of encouragement to the team?
Hi, Philip.
Okay, he seems distracted. Let's move on.
I think that much has been done. Loveline, I don't think I have more to say. Maybe any other participant, Richard, Sam, Ako, Cynthia.
Hello,
Do we have?
Arabella.
Yes.
Oh, Philip is on. Yes, Philip.
Yeah,
I missed
Philip
that
is online.
voice.
Yeah.
Hi, Arabella. Hello, everyone. It is a great pleasure for this opportunity to send a shout from this end to the marvelous job the Cameroon Fulbright team, Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association team under the able leadership of Sam Canisius Simbom is carrying out vis-a-vis this mentorship program. It is a culture which was established 3 to 4 years back. At that time, I was the president of the association, and seeing such an initiative continuing with this degree of energy gives me every reason to really shout from this end. I am currently at the Arizona, precisely Arizona State University, where I'm pursuing a degree program in environmental and resource management under the Fulbright Foreign Students Program. Hello, Arabella, are you getting me?
Yes, Philip, 5 on 5, right on.
Okay, thank you. And it is thanks to the Fulbright Tea program, thanks to activities like the one we are currently doing, that has catapulted me to this level. And it is for this reason that I will never stop at encouraging everybody. For those of you who should I say, at the point of maybe struggling to be admitted into the program, I say courage to you. And I will move on by letting you know it will never be easy. James said it a while ago that the acceptance rate into the program is very, very minimal. I think it stands at less than 2%. Yeah, or in a way, to be candid, I don't really have the statistic fluctuate from year to years, but it is at times it is less than 2%, at times it is more than 2%, but it alternates within 2%. But that shouldn't discourage anybody from getting into such an initiative. When I came for the Fulbright program, many people reached out to me struggling to find out my strategy. I simply told them, I never got the Fulbright scholarship in 1 attempt. I never got it in 2 attempts. I got it in 3 attempts and in 4 years. That's the same thing for the Fulbright Tea program. Though when I was applying, I never directly applied for the program. I applied for the SUSI program and I was nominated for the Tea program. But again, I had equally attempted that program 3 times. In a way, it is not to discourage you, but rather to tell you that you have to put in the best of your energies in order to make it. What I've discovered and what I've learned so far with U.S. government exchange program, U.S. government exchange program application platforms, after making some comparisons, I have discovered that for the Tea program is quite tedious. By this, I mean, those of you who think that the time given for the application, which was about 2.5 months, was too small, you are going to find yourself in trouble at the last minute. For those of you who haven't started, I just have to let you know it is a very tedious task. When I mean started, I mean after putting up the ideas together, you have to start filling the application form, which is quite a tedious exercise. And I am sorry, I did not take part in the sessions of Thursday and yesterday to have known whether you were equally cautioned about this. If not, okay, if you take it, you have to know you must always begin your application on a Word document, meaning that you begin by copying the questions or what we call the prompts down on a worksheet, and then you answer the question and you struggle, or should I say endeavor, to put your answers within the required word count. Please, I'm sorry, I will not take up both of your time to get into all of these issues, but I think this was just an opportunity like for me to drop in my comments, which I've said a shout to those of you who are participating in the mentorship program, and kudos to the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association team. I wish those of you who are applying good luck. Good luck. It may not be directly through your selection for this program, but I pray this initiative should be a trigger, something that is going to catapult you to higher heights. Thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to you, Arabella, and see you.
Thank you, Philip. I miss that voice so much. I miss that grammar so much. Thank you. And one important thing you said, applicants should always write their essay on a Word document before you send it, you copy it to the application. There you'll be able to do some corrections, Word will even underline some corrections. You can take it to Grammarly to be able to know that your grammar is good. You'll be able to get through the word count successfully. It's true that even with the online system, there's a word count that the moment you exceed the word count, it becomes red. But please, always write your application on a Word document before transferring it to the online application system. So I don't know if there is any other contribution from any TIF member or fellow. If we have that, maybe the person will just take over the mic. If not, Loveline, I think we have come to the end of the program. It was a good session. I learned a lot, and I believe every other person learned a lot from this. Loveline?
Yes, Arabella, I think we have two hands raised. Emmanuel, we'll take Emmanuel's hand, then Gerard. Emmanuel.
All right, thank you so much, Loveline, for giving me the floor. I really apologize for joining the session quite late. I was disturbed by rain out of the house. Okay, just to, I followed up most of the presentations, and just to emphasize that the application for this program is a process. So even if you don't get selected this year, continue building your competence and developing yourself in activities that will give your application in the next year an advantage over those of the others. And Gerard shared quite some opportunities. Now, I would really like us to take advantage of the opportunities that he shared. And lastly, some years back, somebody told me that he wrote his application using the phone, and before submitting, everything disappeared. Please don't use the phone. Use the PC and work in the Word document, as Philip and Arabella have emphasized. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Emanuela. Thank you, Emmanuel. Yeah, using the phone is risky. I used a phone myself, but not everybody may be lucky like me to use it to the end. I did everything with my phone when it comes to Fulbright, everything with my phone. So maybe not everybody will be that lucky like me and handle their phone the right way. All right, Gerard, let's hear from you.
Good. That was good. You did everything with your phone, really. It's risky.
Like for real.
So, yeah, so but the best thing we're going to tell you is use a Word document where you're going to have like those the autocorrect stuff that is going to help you make sure that you've done the right thing. And then just go ahead, ask one of us maybe to, hey, can you have a look at this for me? Maybe just a language and the rest. I'm hardly available though, but if I do have the time, I'll look at it. Now, I want to say one thing. When you're applying for most of these programs, if you see they start asking for money, or if you just find an opportunity that they say, hey, this is an opportunity for you to come and teach in the US and the rest, when you see they start asking for money somewhere, telling you, hey, we need money to do this and do that, be careful. It's probably a scam. A lot of that is happening right now, a lot of it. Yeah, they're going to tell you, hey, you have to send us this money. We're going to do your credential evaluation and the rest. No, most of them make you do your credential evaluation yourself. There's a site for credential evaluation. They're going to tell you, hey, go here, do your credential evaluation, and then we're going to take, then you send it to us. But I've just realized that some scammers have been doing that of recent. I think this is the second time I'm seeing it now. And they are getting some of us really, really bad. They ask you for up to like $300, $400, and you send thinking that you're having an opportunity to go to the United States. Be careful, guys. Don't. And just like I said again, if you have anybody who is like a teacher from Cameroon and who is sharing one of these programs to you and asking for money, please let me know. Please, just let me know. I'm in the United States government right now. That's whom I work for. There are some things that we can breach. There are some things that we can stop because that should not be done. And that is very, very selfish for us. When you get somewhere, please try to help the others back home. Try to send the opportunities. I keep on saying, what do you lose? If I tell everybody every time, if I can find a window to open for everybody to like leave and run into the United States and get whatever opportunity they want, I'll open it. I will do that. I'm not saying that I want to like sweep everybody from Cameroon, but all those who can have the opportunity to come, please, I will be ready to help you. And I have a house right here. So if anybody wants to come to the United States and you say, I don't have where to live, contact me. I'm going to tell you, come live in my house. If you think that you're strong enough to pass through the Mexico road and you don't know where to live, come to my house. I'm going to keep you in my house. All right? So I wish everybody the best. Keep on fighting. Like they said, if you don't get it this year, keep on doing it. Philip shared, he said like 2-3 times, I've been trying to come to the United States like for 15 years. Like for 15 years, continuously, every year. And finally, my coming was like, how can I put it? Was double. I got a Fulbright scholarship on me. Then I got the DV lottery on me. And I was like, what am I going to do? Which one should I take? So please keep on fighting. Keep on doing your best. Thank you all. Thank you for the time. Thank you, Lovelyn, for giving me this little time to talk again. Thank you.
Hi, Gerard. I'm coming.
Thank you, Gerard.
Oh,
Thank you.
I hope
You're
that
welcome.
doors are open to receive my bags of cocoyams.
My
because
doors
I
are
don't eat
open.
those guys spaghetti.
We are all coming.
I cook at you in my house.
Be
so
careful
no
for what
problem.
you
You're
wish,
welcome.
Gerard.
All right. Thank you.
It's interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I think like Emmanuel said, there will be links for more, I think, mentorship opportunities in the group. So those who are not yet in the WhatsApp group should do well to join the WhatsApp group. And if you write when you write your application, get somebody to help proofread for you, because you can write and you skip over some mistakes, some errors that you cannot identify with, because you know mentally you think this is what you've written, but it may not be what you've written exactly. So you get somebody to help you proofread what you've written so that you can give your best. So remember, it's very competitive, and put your best foot forward. Any other words from our presenters from the Fulbright team? This is our last day with this e-mentorship, and I think maybe the president should tell us something.
Yes, Lovelyn, I think it is with great joy that I am addressing the last session for this, our mentorship program. And I will begin first by appreciating a number of issues here. First, I want to thank Open Dreams for accepting and successfully hosting this Zoom meetings. So thank you so much, James. My second thanks goes to our mentors from the Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association. I sincerely appreciate your time, your expertise, and professionalism in the way you have handled the 3 days mentorship program. And the last appreciation will go to our mentees. We have observed that some have actually followed the sessions for all the 3 days, some for 2 days, and some just for the last day. It is not late, no matter how many days of followed it up, you still have an opportunity to continue with our mentorship in our WhatsApp group. And to say it here that it is often said that information is power. The Cameroon Fulbright Alumni Association will continue to volunteer with the different teachers aspiring to do this application. So feel free, as Gerard, Richard, and every other T fellow has said, to contact us either inbox or in the chat group if you have any difficulties, so that we could assist you in one way or the other. We are open-minded people and will offer you free services. That is very, very important. So our WhatsApp group is open, and we are going to continue the process because the application deadline is the 20th of March. And it's going to be our pleasure that as many teachers get this application to the end. You need to be committed to get the application to the end. Get this application. Once you do your application, make sure that you save your application on a Word document, so that this can act like a reference, so that if this year you are not selected, next year you can easily come back to it and look at where you went wrong, or what are the different aspects that you have to modify in order to make your application to be more competitive. It is often said that immediately you complete an application for the T program, it actually reshapes it reshapes your mind, it reshapes the way you think, and it reshapes the way you look at education as a whole. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. I want to congratulate us for everything that we have done for the 3 days and for what we'll continue to do for our communities. God bless you all, and wish you success in your applications. Wish you success in the community activities that you do, and don't forget to try the other opportunities that exist there by doing other applications and not limiting yourself only to the Fulbright T application. Continue to be good teachers and make yourself responsible and responsible teachers. Ciao. So happy for today. So happy for everyone. Congratulations. Bravo. You just made our day. Everybody, just shout out any good word for you. Just one word.
President, the link is
just one word.
The link is
just
pasted.
one word. Just one word about the training. So I can say it was so engaging.
The link of the WhatsApp page is there, pasted.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we'll play with everybody. Please just put on your cameras for a moment. Let's have a souvenir photo. That will be like some testimony by the time some of you are boarding the flight to head to the land of Obama. Yeah, so when you put, please just smile. God answers our prayers in a magnificent way. Maybe the prayer could be that link. Wow. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
More are still coming, James. More are still coming on their cameras.
Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, thank you so much.
You say bye-bye to us, okay?
Good.